The state government has agreed to implement almost all the recommendations from the Bushfires Royal Commission. The one rejected proposal, a voluntary buyback scheme for properties in high-risk areas. In a moment, we'll speak to the Premier John Brumby about his plans, but first, Helen Brown reports on the continuing emotional toll of Black Saturday.
It's been 18 months since the devastating and deadly fires that hit Victoria. A long enough time, it would seem, to pick up your life and move on. But the reality for some is much tougher.
I think it's only now, the last 3 or 4 months, that things have hit us, that it's taking too long to get back to a normal life again. I think we grieve for the past. I think it's only now we're starting to grieve for the past. It just feels like it's taking too long.
It's just being confronted with that enormous wall of understanding that their lives will never be the same again.
In fact, even amongst my colleagues, when I've said to them occasionally I can't come to a meeting in the evening this year because I'm having a meeting in the bushfire affected communities, they ask with surprise, "Oh, is that all still going?"
Narelle and Bruce Mayer lost their family home when the fires swept through Labatouche in Gippsland. They saved the shed that housed their cabinet-making business and decided to live in a bus so they could keep the business running while looking after their land and animals and building a new home.
Lucy's got a side for her clothes. Jack's got a side.
6 months has turned into 16 months.
This is where the kids stay. So Jack sleeps on this side and Lucy stays on this side, and then this is where Bruce and I stay. And we look forward to having our own room. We look forward to our own room and space. I think sometimes we feel like we've let them down, but you know, we've just kept going forward. There's a lot of people in our same situation, and so we just all stay strong and just move forward, keep moving forward.
In another part of Victoria, many bushfire survivors have met this man. John Graham's still helping people from King Lake, St Andrews and Strathewen, and says the last few months have become particularly gruelling for some.
The feedback we're getting, some of them are at a stage where that they want to give up, that why continue and why fight with bureaucracy or different situations they might be confronted with in regard to their living conditions, in regard to their employment opportunities and how they can cope with holding down a full-time job now.
The Diamond Valley Baptist Church recently held a service for a man who committed suicide. He wasn't a bushfire survivor, but was helping those who were. He was also John Graham's friend.
There's been too many reports that I've heard of suicide, and too many of those reports that I've heard of were left of centre. They weren't anticipated. Some may be anticipated, but in the case of my own friend, I was busy focusing on people here. I was busy focusing on 7 guys that I immediately spend the majority of my time helping and working alongside, and so my friend wasn't even on that list, as it were. And so that did hit me pretty hard, that reality of different people cope in different ways.
Rob Gordon's consulting to the government about the recovery process.
We are aware that there have been suicides, but what we need to emphasise is that there's a lot of research over many years that shows natural disasters don't cause mental health problems that weren't there. What they'll do is aggravate and complicate problems that are already there.
The psychologist had predicted the second year after the fires would be the toughest for some.
There is nothing like an epidemic of suicide. There may be an epidemic of talk about suicide in the communities who are feeling stressed and exhausted and demoralised at times, but there is no epidemic of suicide. There's no epidemic of mental illness.
At its highest point, the state government was providing assistance to around 5,500 cases through case workers. There are still 1,100 active cases on the books. The Department of Health says it's not keeping a breakdown of, for instance, the levels of depression or suicide. However, programs and support will continue for some time.
There is hope for a better day. There is hope for a brighter future.
The new head of Victoria's Recovery Authority, Ian Digger, has been hearing firsthand about the long road that still lies ahead. In this case, at morning tea, in a hall that not so long ago sheltered people from the raging fires.
In many ways, the implications of those fires are still rolling on, and different aspects of it are hitting us in different ways.
The people of Labatouche have started several new groups to keep everyone connected.
I think the most exciting thing I've heard is the fact that the friendships amongst the community have been, the levels being raised significantly, and that's a good thing for the long term.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this lady before the fire.
We didn't know each other. Now look at us.
Narelle and Bruce Mayer are hoping to move into their new house in a month or two, but they know it will take a while to turn it into a home, just as it will take time to come to grips with what they've been through.
We've hidden what we've been through to be strong on the outside. And it's only now that we're realising that you shouldn't cover it and fake it, sort of. It's okay for people to know that you're not coping. And I think that's with everyone. It's good to be honest, show honesty,
Those rebuilding their lives are grateful for the support they've received. Now they just need understanding about the time it takes to find their new lives.
Anyone looking for help can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14.